I recently did a video on no risk growth product that I think is very good that I'm actually using myself. So I've purchased the product myself, and in that video I talked about doing another video on a guaranteed income product which I'm also using myself, and that is this video. So I'm going to talk right now about a product that I think is very good. I'm going to show you exactly what it's all about. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing to try and help you try and figure out what you're going to be doing. And certainly things that I do aren't necessarily the things that you would do, but I find in a lot of the talk that's on the internet or in videos, it's mostly generalities. They don't talk specifically about things. So I'm going to talk very specifically, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing so that you can kind of get an idea on what you might consider doing. And my main goal with my retirement income, which we've taken 40 years to build, is not to lose it, not to have it go backwards. I want it to be safe going forward and to know that it's going to be there when I need it. And certainly that's the way most people should think coming into their 60s, certainly past that, is we want to take risk out of the equation and have guaranteed things that we can count on going forward. Because when we're in our 80s and possibly in our 90s, maybe farther, we don't want to be thinking about money and how we're going to pay for things. So we want to know that it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to show you, like I say, right now what I'm doing. And my wife and I, we've worked all our lives. We've done the things we're supposed to do. We've maxed out our 401k along the way, and we've built a pretty decent IRA account of about $2 million. And now is the time to figure out how to really take advantage of that and to make sure, number one, that we don't lose any of it, that we only build on it going forward, and to have it do what we want it to do in the future. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Investment, and kind of, we got this pile of money, where to put it kind of thing. And I can tell you, it's more complicated when you get there to be comfortable knowing where you're going to put it and what to do. And I can tell you, there are financial advisors out there all over the place. I'm not a big fan of the financial advisor. I've always felt that they would be much better off, and why do they need to be giving the advice? But they also have fees and charges, and I don't like any of that either. So I'm much more comfortable knowing what I'm doing, understanding what I'm doing, and pretty much doing it myself without any real complication. That's what I'm going to show you. So what I'm going to do is, with my beginning balance of my $2 million, and number one, the stock market is one thing, and there are avenues in there that you can go with lower risk and things of that nature, but this is much more of the safety side on what we're looking to do. So I'm going to take 25% of that $2 million, and it's going to go into a no risk growth account. That's the video I did previous to this, the Mass Mutual product, where it can grow a pretty reasonable amount, but it can't ever go backwards. It can only go to zero. It can't go below zero if the market takes a dive. And we've all been there when the market has taken a dive in our lifetime. There's been a number of times where there's been a stock market crash, a Black Monday, something like that. God forbid we ever got back to like Jimmy Carter days. That's right at the beginning of my understanding, but where interest rates were up 18%, and to get gas, you had to have an odd, even number license plate to get gas. We don't need any of that to affect our finances going forward. If it does happen again, we can be in a place where we're okay, and we can deal with that when we have to deal with that. So 25% of that is going into the no risk growth account. Another 25% is going to go into a no risk income account, which I'm going to show you here in just a minute, the one that I think is great right now. And these things do change, pretty often. So right now, this is what is looking solid and strong, and again, just guaranteed to go. And then it's going to leave me 50% of it to play, maybe more aggressively with, or not, still want to be safe going forward. But I will generally have this in a Vanguard account, where Vanguard has multitude of options that you can choose based on risk level, or you can put it in a mutual fund that has very little risk or a little more risk. and a little more growth and that kind of stuff. It's not hard to do that, but it gives me control over it, and I don't have to pay somebody. Vanguard has very little fees and very little cost to their products, and again, very easy to manage yourself without getting overly complicated. So that's what I'm looking to do right here. 25% no risk growth, 25% no risk income, and then 50% we can have in a Vanguard account that'll grow as it goes. And again, we can utilize that as we go. But this, to me, if you're in your 20s or 30s and happen to be looking at this, is the true testament to maximize your 401k. Do it. It's very hard to see it early on, and I can tell you from 0 to 100,000 takes a very long time to get that account there. 100,000 to 200,000 takes a lot less time. And then once you get to like 900,000 to $1 million, it goes pretty quickly, and it gets there pretty quickly as long as you put it in the right places and the growth is there. And the best thing about that as you go is you can be aggressive because you have time to recover in the market, where now if we're in our 60s or 70s, we don't have that time to recover. We need to hold on to what we have. So that's what we're looking to do here. So I'm going to show you the income product that I think is terrific. And again, I've got 25% of what I'm doing there. So certainly put my money where my mouth is. This is what I would highly recommend if you want to be comfortable going into later years. And I'm actually tomorrow going to Virginia to visit my 91-year-old mother, who's doing very well. And if she had done something like this 30 years ago, she would have been collecting this income for 20 years and would be significantly way ahead on return on investment kind of stuff. So it can be a good play. Certainly if you live longer, it's a better play, but you're betting on your longevity. And my feeling is if I live longer, then that's going to be great. If I don't, okay, so that that's okay too. So, but we want to just make ourselves in a position where we're comfortable. So this product with Nationwide, certainly massively large carrier. You see them on TV all over the place. Peyton Manning doing their commercials. Everybody knows the jingle. Very solid. We're very comfortable with Nationwide in a product like this. And where this product performs is down here. This is the horsepower, the 30% benefit bonus, and the 9.5% roll-up rate. And if you don't understand how this kind of annuity works, I've got a basic video that has a doodle drawing where I show you how this works. This is a different type of product where we're not building it for the growth of your income. We are building it for this annual or monthly guaranteed amount. And I'll show you exactly how that works as well. But basically this scenario here, if you put $500,000 into it, then it's going to get a 30% increase right off the bat, and I'll show you that in just a second. And then what's going to happen after that is that benefit base, the part that we are growing to get to that guaranteed income, is going to grow at 9.5% compounded every year. So significant growth in that area too. So this will be a 10-year deferred product, although we don't have to wait the entire 10 years. We can choose it any time in between, but the kind of the sweet spot is at that 10 years. So right now we're starting at 67. And what I'm going to do from an allocation strategy is I'm putting it into the NASDAQ. And you have choices, and I would really only choose between the S&P or the NASDAQ. I'm going to choose the NASDAQ on this because I think with AI coming, technology is going to rule the land over the next couple of decades. So technology is kind of where I want to be heavy on. But again, we're not building this for that. This would only enhance your death benefit kind of thing, which I'll show you as well. But as we get into it, when you take a look at how it functions, and I won't get too deep into it, but I'll show you kind of exactly how it's going to play out. So this is the illustration. This is the hypothetical illustration that shows the market return with the NASDAQ. And again, we don't put a whole lot of credence into it. It absolutely will grow. So we want it to grow. We just don't know how much, or it could take a huge dive, and we just don't know going forward. Nobody knows. Nobody could tell you for sure. But if you take a look at this, you can see we've started with the $500,000. And if you go over to the benefit base, it's immediately $650,000. So that's that 30% bonus. And then as it goes down, it's going to compound at 9.5% per year. Pretty significant. And what's going to happen is at the 10-year mark, you're going to have this number here, $79,576 a year. So almost $80,000 a year. That's the number we're working with this product. So it really doesn't matter the bonus and the roll-up and all that stuff. It doesn't matter how you get to that number. Other products can also get to that number with different variables going into it, but it's all about this number. This 79,576 is contractually guaranteed. It will be paid the rest of our lives. So this is a joint contract. Myself or my wife, whoever lives the longest, will continue to get near $80,000 a year no matter how long we live. 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. It's there for as long as we live. And that's exactly what I want in a product like this. And again, we're building it for that. When you go back to look at the other columns, the contractual value, again, we're not building it so we're going to take a lump sum out down the road. So it really doesn't matter that much, but it does matter on the death benefit. So you can see the death benefit as it grows coming along. So there is a death benefit if you were to die before you started collecting the monthly or annual income. You get your money back plus some. So some people or annuities in the past didn't have a death benefit. You either use it or lose it kind of thing. Certainly wouldn't want that either. But here you have the death benefit. So if it does not go well and you don't make it to the guaranteed income, then you certainly have a death benefit that goes to your heirs. But once you get there, then the $79,000, $80,000 a year starts to come out of that bucket. That bucket's going to run dry because you're going to take a significant amount of money as you're going. And once that bucket runs dry, it doesn't affect the guaranteed income. So that's why we're building for this guaranteed income down the road. So now I'm locking in 10 years from now. And I can tell you, if you're 65 and you're doing this, when you're 75, you're not going to feel like death is knocking on your door. You're going to then be pretty happy that you will have $80,000 in income for the rest of your life, on top of your Social Security, on top of whatever else you may have. And you can also use this money as your required minimum distribution. So it makes it a very easy way to handle a lot of that RMD that's going to come along when you're 73 or 75 or what it may be. So I find this very attractive. Again, not all by itself, but coupled up with a guaranteed no risk growth product, and then also plenty left over to have in other avenues. So I'm happy to help with all this. This is what I do, and it's really not that complicated. It's very easy going from one account to another account. It's just a 1035 form where your current IRA or 401k transfers it over to Nationwide in another qualified account, so there's no tax implications there whatsoever. But it just gives us something comfortable to work with. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm happy to run an illustration for you. And again, this is based on myself and my wife as a joint contract. If it were a single contract, that number would be higher. It'd be $80-some thousand a year in guaranteed income when it gets there. But just depends on what your situation is and what makes the most sense. But we want to get the most value out of what we can. And again, guaranteed, contractual. Don't want it to go backwards. No risk. That kind of stuff is exactly what we're looking for. So I hope you found this helpful. Have a fantastic day.